Hello and welcome back to the Accountability Lounge. I'm here with my friend Kay, and we're going to talk about just having some accountability, things that went on in her life, and things that she feel that some family members probably wasn't accountable for, and some things that she wasn't accountable for. So, how you doing, Kay?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. So,
Good.
what you say?
I said good.
Good, yeah. So let's start out with how we met. You remember how we met?
I believe we met at one of the mixers.
The mixers.
Was it
What was it
a
like?
mixer?
I think we met at the photo shoot with Jahari, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, maybe that was it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we
I
started.
thought we met at one of Jahari's mixers. Okay.
Maybe I don't remember. I just remember the first time I really remember us really vibing was when we did that shoot in the canyon. You know what I mean? We kind of got a little closer there, and I think it was the first time you brought your sister because you was kind of always like
Okay.
really on business and you know what I mean, so into what you was doing as far as your you know role that you played in the photography part of the
Mm-hmm.
the hair and the stuff like that. You was really on point with that. So yeah, I think
Oh,
that.
thank.
Go ahead.
I said thank you, sir.
Yeah, you real professional person. One of my most professional people I worked with. So, how long has it been since we known each other? You think
That's probably about 10 years now.
about 10? Okay.
Hmm.
So a while ago we were talking about just where life is taking you from your childhood. Do you want to start there with some of the stuff that you experienced with family members and going through, I guess, the system that you went through?
Well, I'm not sure if I've shared with you, but
Hmm.
I am adopted.
Yes.
I am one of out of a pair of twins,
Hmm.
and we were actually born into the system. Our birth mother was actually in foster care when she got pregnant with us and had us, so we were born into the system.
Okay,
And
I didn't know that part. So she was real young when she had you.
she was, yeah, my understanding, she was 15.
15. Okay. Did you ever
Mhm.
get to meet your mom?
I've never met her. I've never seen her.
Never even seen her.
I've never even seen her. No.
So how do you feel that that affected you long term? Do you have like a something missing? Does it feel like something is missing? Because I hear that a lot, like not knowing where you come from.
It is definitely something missing. One thing I've noticed, especially in the business I'm in, that no matter how old you are, you still need a mother. You still need some sort of guidance um, along the way because we don't have experience. We're not going to make the best decisions. And it is nice to have someone to be able that you even look like
Yeah.
to be able to go to and ask, okay, this is happening, what do I do? Or if this happened to you, what would you do? Some sort of guidance. But in my experience of adoption and my experience with the family that I was adopted into, it was more of go figure it out.
Wow. So you don't? Do you know any of your um, like mother's family? Did you ever get like look for them or look for anybody? I guess that would know your mother or know any of the family members. That you have like an avenue to find your lineage?
About 20 years ago, I did a search for my birth mother. Bluetooth is connecting.
And
Yeah. And that was my speaker.
yeah, I heard it. I heard it. It's all
And
good. Bluetooth connected.
My bad.
That's all good.
About 20 years ago, I did a search, and I did a search for my birth father and birth mother, and I found both of them. I actually was
Wow.
able to get in touch with him, but I never was able to get in touch with her. And the closest I got was to her next door neighbor, because when a private eye does a search for people,
Hmm.
they search the neighborhood, like,
Okay.
you know,
Where she used to
who
live
lives
at and stuff like that. And
right,
okay.
who lives right, your neighbor, who lives above you, below you, how you move, the whole nine. And I got to her neighbor. I actually got to speak to her neighbor and tell him my story.
Okay.
And he was just completely moved, and he said, I think this might be her. And I believe he was a Hispanic gentleman.
Okay.
But he was like, I think this might be her. He said he was asking me questions. I said, I really don't know. I've never seen her. I don't know her.
Did he show
But,
you a picture of her? So you saying?
no, we
Okay.
only spoke over the phone
Okay. Okay.
because he was actually located in Southern California.
Okay. So
Right.
from what you know, is she still alive?
From what I know, yes.
And your father is also?
From what I know, yes.
So you said you did get in touch with him, though. What did you speak to him about?
I actually spoke to him. I got to speak to him, my grandmother,
Mhm.
and my sister and I took the trip to Philadelphia to meet them.
Oh, so you met him.
Um, yeah, we got to meet, and
Okay.
it was nice to walk into a building, a room,
Mhm.
and you see the people who look like you.
So did you favor
You
you
know,
favor your father and that side of the family from what you seen?
I do.
Okay. So have y'all kept in
You know,
touch?
I haven't seen him since.
Have you talked to him at least?
I spoke to him maybe twice. So I think the last time I spoke to him was in 2003.
Wow. And
Yeah.
why do you think that is? Like, did you just didn't feel a connection? Did you seem like he didn't really want to continue, or was it too much for you to deal with?
I really didn't have a lot of expectation. I really didn't. I was grateful that we got to meet. I It would have been nice to keep a relationship going,
Mm.
but um, we were two of 10 that he created.
Oh wow.
None of us have the same mother,
Wow.
and um, the one sister that I got to meet in Philadelphia, she thought she was the oldest. And
Oh.
then here come me and my twin.
Right, right. And
And we're considerably older than her.
wow. How old was she?
Right. She was like 21. No, 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 maybe 19,
Mm.
20. And we were like 27,
Okay.
28.
So moving on. So with your mom, like he didn't have any like what was the story with him on that? Like how did that go?
He didn't have any information after they left, and she made sure that we were adopted and not with his family.
Was there a reason for that? Why would did he
If
know
there
that she was
was,
pregnant?
he didn't say.
Did he know that
He
she was?
did.
He did know
He
that she was.
did know. Right. And his parents actually tried to get custody of us at one point.
Okay.
But there was some sort of, I don't know if there was a work shortage, a labor shortage, or something.
Mm.
And the grandfather was having to go back east
Okay.
and, restart their lives there. And I guess that's, she didn't want that for us.
Okay. So did she
So
vet
she
the
thought,
people that you were adopted by? Like, do you feel that she vetted them, or did she just assume that you going with someone else would have been better than you living with your actual birth father?
I can't tell what she was thinking. I really don't know. After meeting them,
Hmm.
you know, I'm grateful that I wasn't in the environment
Okay,
because
that was
I
going to be my
see,
next question.
yeah, I see,
Dysfunction.
the smoldering flame
Yeah, yeah.
versus,
Yeah, I
just
know.
constantly, shooting bombs all the
Okay.
time. So,
So you're
um,
grateful for her decision. So she did do. You think she did make the
yeah,
right
she
decision?
did.
So,
Right. Because even my habits that I've had,
mhm.
um, were probably hereditary, but had they been cultivated or nurtured environmental, I'd be like way worse than I am now.
I get you. I get it. So, with your foster parents, how was life there, and how did that work out for you? Do you feel that even
Foster
though it
parents, were-
even though it was better than the situation from the birth side, do you feel that they gave you the love and the attention and what you needed from them, or did you feel like you were adopted? Because I know when I was in the group homes and stuff, I never felt settled. You know what I mean? It was always like this underlying, and you can tell how they would treat other people compared to
hmm
you. You know what I mean?
hmm
So how did you
yeah, you
feel?
can see the difference. Now I'll say with our foster parents, because we were almost 3 when we were actually adopted. So I actually remember meeting this couple for the first time.
Okay.
But I will say this: I was never allowed to forget that I was adopted.
Mm,
And it wasn't until maybe last year or maybe even last relationship
hmm.
that I realized I heard that out of my mouth a whole lot more,
Out of your mouth or out of their
out
mouth?
of my own mouth,
Okay. So
you
so
know.
how was the reminders? What reminded you that you were adopted? Was it them saying things to you, or was it more you just thinking that I'm adopted, or how did that? What form did that come in? Like I mean the knowing that you're adopted constantly.
It came in several different forms. The first and the main was, um, I would say from the beginning, just it seemed like for the woman, it was an obligation
Hmm.
to be a part of this parenting situation versus something that she really wanted. Um, and but we were very, very, very much loved by, technically our grandparents, our adoptive grandparents. But the ways it was really shown in the household we came up in,
Hmm.
it was through actions, it was through treatment, and for the longest time, it was just my sister and I.
Hmm.
And it's like if you did any little thing out of line or embarrassing or that would what would I say that would
Make them look at you sideways or something like that.
yeah or I want to say disjoint or the illusion or destroy the illusion that
Oh,
this is perfection. um then you got broke off. You got the beat down.
so
You would
you
be embarrassed. You would get popped in the lips or,
oh so they were
popped
physically
in the eye.
they would get physical with you.
It was she, not he.
Okay, so from
Yeah.
coming from her, and I hear this a lot with women that have like stepmoms and adopted moms and stuff like that. The women are a lot more critical and almost abusive, whether it's mentally or physically, to the younger or the adopted kids or the step kids. So, do you believe that? What was the reason for them adopting? Do you think it was like a money thing? Do you think it was that they really wanted kids? Or
I don't know that it was a money thing. After their parents died, I realized that it was really their parents who wanted to be grandparents.
oh,
I think that they were having some issues conceiving, and he was a young teacher in one of the local school districts. So something makes me think that she may have been in that actual school district, which is how we were found.
okay,
Um, because she and two siblings ended up here from Louisiana.
when you say she and
And
two siblings, you're talking about who?
she and
The stepmom?
she and my birth mother,
Okay,
yeah, ended up here in California with two siblings. And their mother had died, and she said that her uncle was molesting her or touching her, doing something,
okay,
wrong. And that's how she ended up in foster care.
okay. So that's your
And
adopted mom.
then that was my birth
Oh,
mother.
your birth mom. Okay,
Right. And so that's how my sister and I were actually born into foster care.
okay, because it was an uncle or
Mhm.
something like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. And so, just moving forward to the adopted mother,
Hmm.
she just made sure to show that she really didn't want to be bothered. Don't touch me. Don't stand close to me.
So
It was not about
it was no
affection.
affection. Yeah, it was no affection
No
there.
affection. No positive feedback.
No
It was
reinforcement. Yeah.
always a cut down. And the thing about being cut down all the time, and especially when you're in a place where you don't even look like these people,
So
you
what race were
lose
they?
identity.
What what race were they? If you don't mind me asking.
Black.
They
They're
were black.
African American.
Okay.
Black.
Okay. And just so everybody
But
knows,
when
she's
I
black
say
as well.
look like you, I'm sorry.
No, I was just telling the audience that you're black as well. So you fit the. It wouldn't be like they couldn't tell, but if people seen you, they could assume that that was really your mother. It wasn't like you were in a white household or something like that.
Right. Right. Especially while we were little, yes.
Okay.
But I will say this, and I'll just tell this quick story about the first time I knew I was really, really different.
Okay.
It was one of the holidays. It was either Christmas or Thanksgiving, and we had gone to her family's family gathering for the dinner. And the kids had to eat in a certain room at a certain table,
Of
and the
course.
adults ate at a certain room because, of course, you couldn't be listening to
To,
grown folks' business.
that's how I used to be. Yes. It's not like that no more.
And no, not at all. They know too much now, anyway. But I remember there being newspaper on the floor, and my sister and I being served on newspaper on the floor, while the other kids were seated and served at the table.
Wow.
And it went on like that at least 3 times.
That's
And I
crazy.
don't know if that's like the first breaking tactic of slavery times. I'm not sure.
Right. So they basically served y'all on the floors like animals. Basically, is the way what it sounds like,
Yeah.
just to make sure. And you can think of like their mindset. Well, they're not really related. Let our kids sit here, and they're less than. So it's okay if they sit there. They're not really family type of thing.
Yes. And
Yeah.
know your place.
Basically.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that's a hard one. And you noticed that, and you just felt how at that point when
I
you started
heard it.
noticing it hurt.
Yeah, you just don't feel, you stop expecting things from people.
Yeah.
So you don't expect people to go out of their way for you.
You telling me, man? Yeah, that's kind of
You
similar.
learn to train yourself to be that way.
Yeah, that's kind of. I think I told you my story about my mom being schizophrenic and trying to kill us, me and my sister, and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and all types of
Yeah.
stuff. So I really relate to what you're saying. Knowing, I mean, I was with my family, but I did bounce around. You know what I mean? So I really can relate to what you're saying when you go to other places, foster homes or group homes, and people just treat you like nothing. They just there for the check. So
Right.
so moving on from
And it's
that,
amazing.
you said
Yeah.
what was it? Go ahead.
I said it's amazing that people can do that, but
Yeah, to people,
moving on.
to humans. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
so with that. With all the stuff that you went through as a kid, and I know it's more stuff to it, but how do you feel that shaped you as an adult? How did that affect your life, like for the long run? Did that affect like your relationships, your work relationships? Did it affect the idea of you wanting to be an entrepreneur because you are an entrepreneur and you own your own thing? You don't want to be up under anybody. How did this upbringing affect you, if it did, in any way?
Well, I it's affected every facet of my life. I've been married twice.
Okay.
I am friends with probably all of my exes.
That's good.
Um, I wasn't. I don't know. Can I use bad
Man,
words
say
on this
what you want to. We doing what we doing.
accountability?
Yeah, we doing whatever fuck we want to do. This is our shit. We ain't getting no money or nothing. We gonna say the fuck we want to. So come how you come. You know how we talk. We talk all the time. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. But
you ain't gotta dumb shit down. So yeah, go with it.
but see, that goes back to image
Hmm.
and
Yeah, yeah.
me looking out for
Code switching.
and not
Yeah.
and being trained to look out for the people that I care about when we're doing something. You
Now
know
I
what I mean?
understand. I understand, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have to be
So
professional at some point, especially when we was doing our photography thing. We couldn't just be
that's
ourselves
for,
in certain spots and act how we act.
that's for
But
sure.
when we go to
For
dinner
sure.
afterwards, we let loose, go get some drinks and start acting stupid or something. You know what I mean?
That's for sure. That's for
So
sure.
yeah,
So I'm a just okay. So I'm gonna just keep it 100.
yeah.
I've been married twice,
Hmm.
and I have had maybe four serious boyfriends, four serious loves,
Okay.
and I found that it was easy for me to fall in love with someone far away,
Oh, like long
um,
distance.
long distance. I could actually just, talk and be myself and be this man's friend, or he can learn to be my friend. All those things
Yeah, because there's no real
that the
attachment
heart,
constantly.
right,
Yeah.
right, emotional things.
Hmm.
But I found that when it's in my face, and when that man is in my face, I really don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with love. I don't
Wow.
know what to do with someone who wants to love me, or wants to hold me, or wants to, kiss on me without being gut punched. You know what
You said you would gut punch that motherfucker like, hey, too much.
I'm
You know what? And I think a lot of women are like that now. That's kind of been some of my experiences is that emotional things are harder to do than just physical or certain things, and being able to work with somebody and stuff like that. I think it's hard
yeah,
to come into from being such an independent person to
yeah.
now having people rely on you or stuff like that, or even look to you for
Mhm.
affection or look to you for certain things. So I can totally get the feeling of that. So tell me more, like, so with your marriages, right? Your first
Yeah.
one, you know I'm gonna go into it, but with your first one, how did that come about? If you kind of knew that being around a person made you feel that way, how did you decide to actually do the marriage thing? And was it more or less for him, or was it for you?
Well, the marriage was more or less for me. even though we took our time doing it, he come to find out he was that dude that had been engaged several times.
Okay.
So he would give the women what they wanted,
Okay.
but just not go all the way.
That
You
makes
know what I mean?
sense. Yeah, I think a lot of guys do
Right.
that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense
Right.
because you don't want to lose that woman.
Yeah.
So until the shit go wrong, and he be like, "Oh hell, I can't marry this." Nah. Anywho, um, and a year into living together, actually not even a year, probably 6 months into living together, I knew I'm like, "Oh no, we're not gonna make it."
Okay.
Even though I still wanted to get married, and the getting married was to prove a point because the people that I had been adopted by were looking down on me for shacking
Okay.
up with this man.
Okay.
And I just kept hearing, "Yo, you gonna have a baby? You gonna do this? You gonna do that?" And the point I needed to prove was I could live with a man
Mm.
and not get pregnant. So I learned what type of condom I used, and then I also learned that I picked a very neglectful man. I
Okay.
picked a man who I picked a man who liked to bring shiny things home
Right.
versus just coming home maybe half an hour earlier.
Okay. So he would stay out or like. See, I think this is. I think what you're saying.
He was workaholic.
So see, I
When
think
that
that.
wasn't,
Go
I
ahead.
wasn't asking him for that.
Right.
I wasn't asking him for like, oh, everywhere we go, oh, look at that ring, look at this bracelet.
Right.
It wasn't any of that. It was, I just want some of your time, and that was because I had a dad who worked 2 jobs,
Right.
so I know what it means for your man to not be home, and I wanted mine to be home at least maybe twice a week.
So I got a question for you because I feel that that's my
Hmm.
thing. Like he was neglectful. You talked about 6 months after you moved in, you kind of already knew that it wasn't gonna work. What made you know that it wasn't gonna work with the 6 months? Just because he was gone a lot, or what made you feel that way? That it wasn't gonna work.
Because I felt alone even laying next to that man.
Wow. See, that's what I get a lot. So did you talk to him about it? Did you kind of like let him know how you was feeling, or did you kind of keep it in for a while and then it just comes out, or how did
Mm,
you go about that? Like to let him
You
know how
know,
you
I
was feeling.
tried. I tried to talk to him about it,
Hmm.
and I was considerably younger than him, so
Okay.
I'm sure he may have looked at me. And I'll just tell you, physically, the way he looked at me was just like, uh, I ain't trying to hear this shit again.
Okay.
And it was about, babe, I miss you. I don't understand why I miss you and I lay next to you every day.
Okay. That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
I'm not asking you for this and this.
Okay.
I just want a little bit more of your time. So then I thought, well, maybe I need to give him some more pussy.
Okay. That,
Maybe
that
he ain't
works
giving up
sometimes.
yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that works. So
And then he really started disappearing.
after you was giving him pussy,
Yeah,
what the fuck is that about?
he was leaning back, and I'm like, shit.
And y'all was married at this point.
No, we weren't even married yet. No,
Okay. Y'all weren't. Okay. So
no.
what made
So
you
that
get
means I got married already knowing that the shit was this dysfunctional.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask you. What made you take that extra step of getting married if you already was feeling neglected and, you know?
Because I was young, I was 23, I had an ego, and I still had to prove this damn point like I was so fucking grown.
Yes.
And I
Okay.
can live with this man, and we can make plans that we could be grown and not have children yet.
Yeah.
and we can plan our life. You know, just trying to prove a fucking point
Okay.
that you try to prove at 22. You know, in your early 20s,
So how did
because you
that?
don't know shit.
So how did that end when you finally was like, it's not working and da 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 da? How did you get yourself out of that situation and kind of take your life back? How did that work?
Well, he had moved. He had moved out of the bedroom.
Oh, he moved out. Why? Like,
I don't know.
oh, so he was just. It was okay. And then
I still don't know why he moved out of the bedroom.
you and him was y'all still friends though, right? You never just asked like, so what was going
We're
on?
still friends now. There was something that he told me a couple of years ago, and this could be that point.
Okay.
He told me a couple of years ago, right after COVID hit and everybody ended up inside, he had shared with me that about 20 years ago, my sister, my twin,
Mm,
told him that I was cheating on him
mm.
with somebody.
Yeah, I know that's a rocky
Right.
relationship. You and your sister. We probably touch on that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And he
and
never.
I remember
I'm sorry. He never confronted you about it. He just held it in and just.
he he never said no. He never confronted it because when he told me 2 years ago, mm-hmm. I sound proud of myself. I held that. I
That was
held
a
that
long.
all that time.
How long it's been? Shit. That was some fucking
20
years.
years.
How long?
20 years.
God damn. He held that shit up.
That's what I'm saying. But my thing that that she was trying to get me killed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. So,
Actually wasn't up to anything then.
yeah. Then. So, did you start moving on whilst you guys were still married because you realized that he was not really interested in being around you like that? Did you like start cheating when you were still with him at some point? Did you start mingling and doing whatever you needed to
Well,
do
you
for
know,
yourself?
yeah, a long time before we even got married, I had pursued or allowed myself to be pursued by some others along the way.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't know if I guess that is cheating.
Yeah, to a certain extent,
But I
yeah.
wasn't leaving home, and I told them that I wasn't leaving home
Were you
because he
intimate with
wasn't,
them, or were you doing anything, or
it
were
was
you just?
fucking,
So y'all were okay, okay,
yeah.
but you just wasn't
And
gonna
it
leave your
was,
relationship to be with them. Is what you're saying,
no,
right?
because I still had hope that it was going to get better. I just didn't know why he wasn't coming home.
Okay, and he was probably doing the
That
same shit.
which is very juvenile and adolescent
Mm,
because the reality is the environment that I came up in, I watched a man let this woman walk all over him
mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't make decisions
Wow.
and he wouldn't put her in her place. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
wouldn't correct things.
Okay.
And when you allow things to just keep going,
Yes, sir.
then you get run over.
Yeah, you have to lead, or be okay with
You
things
showing me
being.
how to treat you.
Yeah, be okay with things being where they left at. You know what I mean? So,
Right. And
um,
I honestly I really did I wanted my man,
mhm.
but I needed some dick
Yeah, yeah. If he
and
wasn't
he
giving it to
wasn't
you,
giving
everybody
it up.
has needs. So that's
Right.
understandable. So moving on to your second marriage now, how did that come about? How did you go from that to the new one?
Actually, we met through a mutual friend,
Hmm. And
and um, and it just was kind of like a whirlwind.
it was like a quick thing, or like y'all fell in love, y'all was always hanging out type thing.
Yeah, it was like a quick whirlwind, and it caught me off guard
Hmm.
because I had never felt like overwhelmed,
Okay.
or I had never felt that type of feeling or emotion
Yeah.
with anyone who was in my face. I had only felt it with in long distance relationships. So I felt a different type of connection with that man.
Yeah, I like when it be like that, when everything is just love, everything feels good. So then what? So y'all had this whirlwind courting or whatever, and then what? Y'all decided to get married. How did that come about?
We went over to the courthouse.
Just quick. How long did you
Yeah,
know
I
him
got
before y'all went
married
to
in
the
the
courthouse?
sundress.
How long did you know him before y'all got married?
Um, I think 8 to 10 months.
And that's they say that's kind of how it should happen. So once you guys were married, then what? What happened? What changed? What made you after you
We
know?
didn't know what to do with each other. Even though I was older,
Hmm.
I was still stuck at probably 12
In your
when
mind?
it came to, yeah, when it came to being loved
Okay.
or receiving it and not being able to recognize it.
Okay. So he like the one
And
that
that gets in the way.
so you kind of taking your accountability for that relationship.
Yeah,
So you could have probably
because
made that work if
we
it wasn't
split.
for
Yeah,
your
yeah,
mindset. Okay.
yeah. He wanted more. He
Hmm.
wanted more out of life.
Hmm.
He wanted more out of relationship. He wanted more out of me, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't see myself in any other role. Even though I saw him as my partner, I still didn't see him as my partner in every other facet of my life.
Like where do you feel he
And
was lacking? Like on the business end, on your professional end? Like was it not enough? I guess support from him, or it was just like you still kind of had that independent thing that women have, where they kind of just want to be their own leader, but still have somebody there with them when they don't feel like that. You know what I mean? Because I noticed that too. Like a lot of women, they want you to kind of lead to a certain extent, but not really tell them
mhm,
what to do. You get what I'm saying? You know what I'm
mhm.
talking about? Was it like that?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, it really wasn't like that because I want a leader.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm bullheaded as a motherfucker, but
Right.
I do want a leader, and I want to be led. I don't want to lead my man. And the thing that I appreciated about him, and I still appreciate about him, is that he could lead me,
Okay.
and he was not afraid or intimidated by my spirit. And it wasn't, and it's not that I go around acting like the
Nah,
baddest
nah,
bitch,
nah, nah.
but I do have a very strong spirit, and
Right.
he was strong enough um, to keep me in a peaceful state. It was just that I still didn't know what to do. I didn't. I couldn't be supportive emotionally. I mean, I could talk to you, but if you got to trying to have a deeper understanding of family relationships,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't help you. And I found that I would get frustrated, and I didn't realize that I would start having anxiety attacks
Mm.
because I had married someone who was a family man,
Right.
and he wanted more than that. And I knew that I was not equipped
So how did you
to
dump
give
his
him
ass?
that.
How did you dump him? Just tell me how you dumped him. Cause you
Actually,
let
he dumped me.
what? Okay. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happened.
He
So
moved out. He moved out.
okay.
He took a job in another area, locally, but in another area.
Okay.
And we basically had two residences for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized, like, well, shit, I could do this. This works.
Oh, you yeah.
Being a 2 hour wife
You
works.
wanted to be together but separate. That
Right.
shit. Yeah.
And
So
that's bullshit.
so yeah, it is. It's real bullshit. So a question. So when you when y'all did live together separate, right? Did that open up the door for you to just kind of start doing other things that you wanted to do as well? Like, was you
Yes.
going stepping out on him now that he was gone?
Yeah, I went back to dating,
Okay.
and I also gave him the green light to do as well,
Okay.
because I understand that, there are nights, you used to laying next to somebody
Hmm.
and you used to getting it in, just moving over a little touch,
That's
and,
it. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
one and done. But, it gets a little, you get a little hungry some nights when ain't nothing there.
Right.
And so I gave him the same green light. It's like, just protect yourself,
Okay. And y'all was
don't
still
bring nothing
involved.
home.
Y'all was still involved at that point.
Yeah, we were still involved.
Okay.
And it wasn't so much sexual. That was kind of waning
Okay.
and falling off. But we learned even in that to become friends, how to become friends.
Yeah. I think that's the best thing.
And yeah, but we also learned that, okay, we're not the best as a married couple,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
but it takes maturity to get to that point.
Yeah, it's a realization that sometimes we all got to come to. You know what I mean? That's kind
Yeah,
of the state of my being right now. Just realizing that sometimes you just better off being how you was, but with slight tweaks and changes, and making yourself
yeah,
better for your future, whatever comes along. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm totally understanding. I'm totally getting it now, and it's a scary frontier to move that way, but I mean,
Hmm.
it's kind of like the world is open up to you too as well. You know what I mean? You don't have to
It's
live,
necessary.
yeah, you don't have to live by those same lines, guidelines, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm just learning to
Hmm.
let shit go. Like, I don't want to argue. I don't want to go back and forth. So that it's kind of a relief at some point when you do that. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else should we talk about? So what's the state of K now? What's the state of K? What is your world looking like now with all of the stuff that you've been through, like marriages, upbringing? Where's your head at now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or you know what? Before we move on to that, let's touch on you and your sister relationship, because that is a big one for
Hmm.
you. And I know that you've been there a lot for her, even though I know that you talk to me about a lot of stuff that she's done, and like and that y'all have done to each other at some point. And where you at now with that relationship? And just kind of start when you kind of figured out the person that she was, and what you believe could lead her to be that way. Because I know that you were more helpful than she was, if that's the best way of putting it.
Um, I'll say the first part of damage to our relationship happened in the adoptive home,
Okay.
and it happened at the hand of the adoptive mother.
She kind of.
And right, I remember when she would say things to turn us against each other,
Mm.
to get us to tell on each other, or
Can you give me an example, like something that may stand out, that where you really noticed that it was like maybe a issue, or this was, something that made you feel a certain way, where you noticed that this was going on?
Well, I remember, and now we're gonna go back and we're gonna tell our age. I remember back in the day when we had those jelly bracelets,
Okay.
and the big thing was to collect.
Hmm.
You had to have the different collections of jelly bracelets. That was a big thing for girls back in the 80s.
Okay.
And we both had plenty. And we would trade, and I was just a little bit more friendlier than my sister. My sister was shyer. She was,
Yeah.
she's the younger one. And at one point, we got in trouble at the table for something. Maybe we didn't eat our whole plate or something like that. I can't
Okay.
remember what it was. But the punishment was for one of us to tell on each other about whatever it was, and the punishment was to take the collection
The whole
of the jelly
collection.
bracelet,
The
the whole collection.
Wow, not even a bracelet or
And
two. They went
right,
for
and
the whole thing.
I remember everything that I did to earn those bracelets. You know, you traded them with your
Right,
friends. You had to
right.
play
You
games,
got good
card
ones in that
games.
motherfucker. Yeah,
Uh, right,
yeah.
and I remember saying to myself when she was holding that bag up, and I looked at my sister, and I said to myself, "You're not gonna make me turn on my sister."
Hmm.
And we must have been maybe 8 or 9 then, because I know, as we were getting older, it was clear that she and I looked just alike,
Right.
and that we did not look like those people at all.
Okay. As you
And
got older,
so,
you kind of,
right,
yeah,
I'm like,
y'all were
we
different.
came together,
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to turn on you. But what happened was
Your
this
sister turned.
woman would plant seeds to
Okay.
make us turn against each other. And so for the longest time, my sister just did not like me. The one motherfucker on this earth that looked just like me
That
couldn't
was
stand my black ass.
that was all you had left too, because you didn't have
That's
your
all.
mom, your dad. So, did your sister turn on you for the bag of bracelets? What happened?
Oh yeah, she turned on me for the bag of bracelets, and then later in life, if it was, I want to say maybe in the next 3 months,
Hmm.
my first fist fight at school was with my sister rolling
Damn.
around on the asphalt.
Yeah, that lady planted the seed and it just started growing to
Yeah,
where y'all started
that
really
shit,
not liking each other. That's
right.
crazy.
And I mean, even my sister even turned my pack of friends against me. It was that ugly, and she didn't realize that she was basically doing everything that this woman was. She was emulating
Right.
this woman's actions.
And I remember when you guys were living in that spot out there that she would call and try to say little shit about you, and it's like, well, the only reason why you there is because she there. You know what I mean? So you really don't. You know what I mean? It's like she was like undermining shit. I got that vibe from
Mm-hmm.
her. Yeah, she was really
Mm-hmm.
trying to undermine you. So
Mm-hmm. For what
yeah,
reason?
I don't know. You was
I
taking
ain't
care of
never.
her. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
I ain't never slept with a man. I ain't stole a boyfriend. I ain't borrowed no money from.
None of that. Yeah.
I didn't owe her anything. No.
No. Okay. So y'all relationship is still bad to this day? Do y'all talk?
It is. We talk now, but it is. It's delicate. I'll say that.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. We don't have to go too much into that because I know that's really,
Mhm.
really, really a crazy thing to be like a twin and here you are going through this stuff and y'all supposed to go through it together. You know what I mean? And try to come out on the other side, but sometimes it don't
Yeah.
happen that way. Um, So, what are you doing now? Like, how is your life looking now? How are you feeling? I know you've had a few issues in the last few months, but how are you feeling? What's your outlook on life? Are you looking for relationships? What are you doing with yourself? Like, what is your world looking like?
Well, the one answer I say is, I'm working,
Yeah,
so I'm
always. That's
grateful
all
for
you do.
that.
That's all the fuck you do.
I'm grateful for
Yeah.
that because the work brings me peace. It's always brought me peace,
Mm-hmm.
and kept me from being homicidal and all those things.
Okay.
So I'm grateful for the work. Relationship wise, I'm out of a relationship, about a year out of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, I learned so much about relationships.
Tell me what you
I
learned. That's
learned,
that's what we want to do. We want to hear that. We want to hear your
I
growth.
learned, yeah, I learned how to be that man's woman.
Mm.
Um, and I didn't have to lead him.
Mm-hmm.
He saw something in me. He saw a need that I had, and he addressed it.
Okay.
without saying anything. It was like I was finally able to just be that man's woman
Mm.
and be his delicate flower
Mm.
and not be the chick that got to show up with the shovel and the trowel with the hard hat and the hazard, vest
Yeah.
on, getting ready to work.
So he was attentive.
Always,
He was attentive to your needs, basically.
he was attentive, and I mean, granted, he was strange fruit, but
The fuck does that mean? You can't.
well, I come to find out he was bipolar. He
Okay.
was a bipolar schizophrenic,
Oh.
but he was also a licensed commercial electrician.
Okay.
So, and he did, like quantum physics by hand.
Fuck.
He didn't even need
He was
scratch paper
intelligent,
in his
huh?
head. Man, super intelligent. And so it very much is a fine line between intelligence and insanity.
Yeah. Yeah. You telling me, man. So
Genius and insanity,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Hand in hand.
yeah, very fine line. Yeah.
So what?
But I learned how to be just I could rest in my femininity. Like this man bought me bras and panties.
Mm,
And then he reminded me, I'm like, oh, I get to go get a fishnet cat suit. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
Oh, I get to put them paddle leather pumps on.
Okay.
I ain't got to come here with this football helmet on.
See, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of men need to hear is stuff like that. Because, like me, I would never think about buying. I would be like, oh, I'll give you some money to go do it or something. But, just, I bring flowers and stuff here and there. But, like the real things that women really want, you know what I mean? Like, I think that a lot of us miss that. Like, for me, I missed a lot of things that I guess that I could have did that it just didn't seem, I guess, to a man that's that important. You get what I'm saying? So we miss those
Mm-hmm.
little signs that would make a woman really be, so I guess I'm gonna have to start doing things like that. You know what I mean? Because if you want to keep a good woman, you gotta, pay attention to the needs. So he was very attentive to your needs, huh? And how did he
He was
know that you
very
needed
attentive.
these things, or he just paid that much attention, or did you kind of mention them? Did you tell him what you liked before you got with him? How did that go?
I was coming out of a really bad state of affairs,
Hmm.
and I think he just paid attention.
Okay.
And he gave me a place to just rest. It wasn't so much of, always talking about everything that was going on, but just a place to rest where I could feel desired, I could feel wanted, I could feel protected,
Hmm.
I could feel like I didn't have to, you know, fight, or
Yeah.
protect myself.
Yeah.
Um, and that was so important to me, and that was one of the reasons I stayed so long. I shouldn't have stayed as long as I did,
Okay.
but it was one of the reasons I stayed as long as I did. That was one of the reasons.
Because he was really good at getting you on a different level that you probably hadn't been touched on before.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So all the other stuff can kind of come and go, but that thing is what you really cherish. Was that? Sounds like.
yeah.
Okay.
A place of peace and a place where a woman can rest.
Yeah, I hear it a lot. So,
Hmm.
but okay. So if he was all that, like, what was the things that you couldn't deal with that made you say, you know what, I should have left a long time ago, even though he was giving you seem like pretty much what you need. So what made you leave this relationship? Was it his disease, or was he doing like weird shit? Like, what made you say enough is enough then? If this was a good
He
thing.
was, yeah, he was doing weird shit, and we could not get settled.
Mm,
We couldn't get settled, and it was in the middle of COVID and things like that. But he started showing me that what he started with, or even the first 8 to 10 months,
Mm.
he couldn't keep up.
Wait,
It
wait.
was,
He couldn't keep up with what?
he couldn't keep up. I don't want to say the cherishing, but there was still something kind of broken in him. Like he needed affection. He needed,
Okay.
there was things that he needed
That
that
you couldn't give him.
that I couldn't recognize, right, that
Okay.
I couldn't give, and I didn't know to pay attention to.
You
I just
sound like
knew
me.
to not,
You sound like me.
huh?
You sound like me because like you can have a person doing a lot of things for you and it just feels like, oh, everything is good on your end and you kind of get the understanding that everything is good and but he needed something that you just wasn't recognizing and it wasn't being brought
Right,
to your attention. Was he bringing it to your
and
attention?
well, he did. Well, part of it was I thought that, well, hell, shit, if we getting it in, I mean, if we fucking 5, 6 days a week
Right.
consistently, then he's getting what he wants and I'm getting, what
Yeah.
I need.
But he needed
You
more
know,
affection, more love.
he needed more affection.
Yeah. And I like affection
And
too.
right, and it
Yeah.
was like even after our session would be done, he would still like rest his arm on me, and I'd be like
Get the fuck
ready to
off me. We
peel.
done, nigga.
Right,
Fuck off me.
and what I had to learn from that was right now,
Hmm.
my partner has just expended his energy giving me what I wanted and needed,
Okay.
and what he needs from me.
Let's
He
see.
got what he wanted.
Right.
But what he needs from me is to be affectionate
And that will
or to
replenish his
allow
soul.
him
Yeah, replenish
to
it.
hold me.
Yeah.
Right.
He needed that
Or
old skin to
allow,
skin.
or, man.
Yeah.
And that was the part that has been the hardest for me.
Okay.
It just throughout my dating career, I'll say.
Yeah, it just sounds
Like
like
my love language is not so much hugging.
right. Like bonding. Yeah, yeah. I get that. Like a lot of like I I experience it too. Like some people just are not affectionate. You know what I mean? And for a person like me, I like touch. I like to be, held. I like to be rubbed, and it is something. It feels like something missing when you deal with somebody like that. But
Mm-hmm.
generally, I would say for me, it's important, but it's not super important as long as I'm getting my basic needs met. You know what I mean? I can
Mm.
do it every now and then. So that's a good point. So you just could. So did you decide to leave him because of that? Because of what you felt that you were missing, or missing his cues or whatever he needed, or did he walk away from that one?
No, I had to step away because he had just stopped. He had stopped going to work. He had stopped, and he had started lying.
Was that because of the
And he had
pandemic?
started, huh?
Was it because of the pandemic he stopped going to work, or because you said it was in a pandemic time,
No,
right?
no, there was work. There
Okay.
was plenty of work, but come to find out, I guess he had stopped managing the mental health part
Oh, okay. He
and
stopped
started
taking his medicine.
self-medicating with his
Okay.
own thing.
Okay.
And shit went downhill,
Quick, huh?
man.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was bad. Even like the last 30 days, I didn't even give him no ass. I just jacked him off every day because he needed to
Yeah.
bust one.
Yeah. Just get the fuck away from me. All right. So, is there anything else you want to touch on? And I appreciate you. You were supposed to be the first person I interviewed, and we just have been missing each other in this system of mine that I'm trying to get up and working. And well, I know we're gonna talk more in the future as well about some other stuff that I wanted to touch on with you and talk about. But is there
For
anything
sure.
else you want to mention and let anybody know, or how are you doing, and what's going on with your future dating? That's one thing that we kind of left out. So what's up with your future dating? What are you doing? Are you
Well,
focusing on
you
you?
know, my future dating is, I don't think I ever really stopped dating.
Okay.
Um, because I'm grateful. I'm not afraid of men. There are a
Right.
lot of women who are afraid of men, so I'm not afraid of men. Um, but I'm learning not to be a bullshitter.
Mm.
I'm learning to
Be honest.
just say, to be honest, hey, this is where I am. This is what page I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get with it, then let's go. If you cannot, then that's okay. I'm not gonna hate on anything.
Right.
But I'm dating freely. I'm dating openly, and but I'm learning to focus on me. I've been having to tell myself over the last couple of weeks, if I treated myself as well as I treated other people, if I encouraged myself as well as I encourage other people, and believed in myself as much as I believe in other people, I'd probably be would have been a better wife or a better girlfriend.
Man.
Um,
And that's what I
but
think I need to do. That's beautiful. I needed to hear that shit right there because I do feel like at times we go above and beyond and kind of neglect ourselves. So
yeah,
that's beautiful.
and I'm going through a health crisis that's
Hmm.
forcing me to pay attention to myself.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope that get better for
and
you.
I can't deviate, I
Yeah.
can't deviate from it because it's going to cost me my business. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a hairdresser.
Right.
It might cost me the formulas of the things that I plan to create,
Hmm.
and I'm not willing to give that up. I want my life. I want, my destiny. I want my future, and it's taken me some time to plug back into that energy.
Right.
And some people have been shaken away from my life, maybe because I'm moving into that space.
Yes.
But you know, um, it is what it is. I want it too bad now.
Well,
I've had too many opportunities to be dead or to kill somebody or
right.
end up in prison, and I didn't do it, and it
Good.
didn't happen, and I'm still here. So
So,
um, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get it. I'm tired of being sick, but if I'm gonna be sick, I'm gonna get this motherfucker. I'm gonna get it.
okay. Well,
On a stick or on oxygen, shit. I'm getting this shit.
Kay, I
Yeah.
want to say this. I appreciate you. I know that you gonna get everything that you looking for and more because of your hustle, your grind, and you know your growth from like what you able to talk about. And I think that some of the words that you said today is gonna help a lot of people. It helped me. Like I said, I need to do a lot of the things that you said, like focus on myself and be more into the stuff that I need to be into. And we still need to get together on a few projects that we talked about, whether it's the hair, photography, or the little movie you was talking about filming. We need to get
Yeah.
together and
Yeah.
do that soon. You know what I mean? And I'm always
Yeah.
here for you. You know I love you.
Likewise.
Yeah, man. So this is my partner, and I thank you for coming out, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So that's the end of the episode, everybody. Keep lounging and tune in next time for more Accountability Lounge.